How long have you two been seeing each other? It'll be almost 3 months soon. Daniel is totally smitten with me.
Emily responded with a triumphant smile. Actually, that's true. We've developed a deep relationship that goes beyond just a director and assistant. Although I already knew, hearing it directly from them was a huge shock. You're too old to have children now, aren't you? Saying so, Emily leaned on Daniel and gently stroked her belly.
No way,
I was stunned.
That's the situation. I've been meaning to tell you. Emily is pregnant with my child.
Daniel continued. To tell you the truth, I've always wanted a child. But with you, we just couldn't have one. Then Emily came into my life. I thought it was fate.
Just so you know, it was your inability to contribute to Daniel for years, okay? After all, Daniel wanted a child. And you, failing to give him one, what does that make you? A useless wife. So, I'm taking your place to give him a child. With an heir, the future of our dental clinic is secure.
At parting, Emily said with pride.
I'll be taking over as the wife of the director.
My name is Olivia, 53 years old. My husband Daniel, who is 5 years my senior, and I have worked together to build up our dental clinic. It's been 25 years since Daniel opened the dental clinic. There were tough times when we had few patients, but recently, Daniel's skills have become well known locally, and our life has stabilized. We were not blessed with children, but we had a past where we overcame every hardship together, so I was confident in our relationship.
Let's work together for the next 30, 40 years to keep this going.
Yeah, we have to work even harder to not lose to other dental clinics. I'm aiming for 50 years. Daniel said something encouraging, and I smiled. When a veteran female assistant who had been with us since the opening retired due to age, we hired a new dental assistant. The newcomer's name was Emily, a young woman with slightly heavy makeup and short skirts, which was a bit concerning for a dental professional. However, her charming smile and good looks made her popular among male patients.
I'm so happy a cute girl like Emily joined. I might come for treatment every day.
Oh really, in that case, I'll extract one tooth each day. She joked harmlessly, showing good humor with male patients, but towards female patients.
Hey, I've been saying it hurts. Can't you be a little more careful?
Oh, come on, endure it a bit, you old woman. Or is it that your husband cheating on you is causing you stress?
Get the director, please.
Taking Daniel's place since he was busy, I went to deal with it.
What kind of training do you give your staff? I'm terribly sorry. Emily, apologize too.
Emily, showing no signs of remorse, stared at her own face in a hand mirror. You know, getting scolded by older women stresses me out and makes my skin break out. She continued to make irritating comments. Moreover, Emily spent her time observing the watches and wallets of male patients. That male patient, despite being older, has such a mediocre wallet. He wears an expensive watch, but his shoes are so plain. In contrast, the director is impressive, wearing luxury watches, carrying high-end leather wallets, and even driving sports cars. I really admire men like that. Listening to Emily, I couldn't help but feel frustrated.
Emily, try not to say things like that in front of the patients, okay?
I often had to lightly admonish her. Everyone has their own values, and I tried to laugh it off as much as possible, but Emily's reputation among the female staff in the clinic was arguably the worst. One day, 6 months after Emily started working at our clinic, as usual, I came to work and the female clerk, Madison, rushed over to me.
Vice Director, a moment, please.
She looked around to make sure no one was listening.
I saw something.
Her mysterious tone caught my interest. Saw what? After a pause, Madison said.
I saw the director and Emily walking together in town.
No way. I tried to laugh it off, but given the nature of the allegation, I couldn't just ignore it. Really? It's not uncommon to bump into someone you know if you're out and about in town. Trying to interpret it in a way that suited me, Madison shook her head vigorously.
No. That's definitely not a mistake. Emily was arm in arm with the director, walking. And the director, looking so smitten in broad daylight. It's ridiculous.
Madison was visibly upset, speaking bitterly. Then she quickly came to her senses.
Sorry. I shouldn't say that about your husband. Please forget I said anything.
Saying that, Madison walked away as if nothing had happened.
As if I could forget.
I became so preoccupied with thoughts of Daniel and Emily that I couldn't focus on my work. I remembered that yesterday, Daniel said he was going to play golf with an old friend from his student days and left early in the morning. Was it really for golf? Once such doubts crossed my mind, no matter how much I shook my head, the negative feelings wouldn't go away. When I got home after work, I found myself paying close attention to every little thing Daniel did. From how often he picked up his smartphone to his hair product and the scent of his cologne, I couldn't help but sense Emily's presence in everything. Unable to stand it any longer, I decided to follow Daniel the next Sunday.
I have plans to dine with friends today, so I'll be home late.
I made up an excuse, left home early in the morning, and parked a rented car in a vacant lot nearby. Without any suspicion, Daniel left the garage in his prized luxury sports car, and I immediately started tailing him. I hoped it was all a misunderstanding. I gripped the steering wheel, wishing for this the entire time. Daniel's car slowed down and pulled over to the side of the road.
That guy!
I couldn't help but exclaim. There on the sidewalk, blatantly showing off her white legs from under a miniskirt, stood Emily. She waved with a smile and then got into the passenger seat of Daniel's car as if it were the most natural thing in the world. Given their behavior, I had to admit their relationship seemed quite intimate. Madison's eyewitness account was indeed true. I felt an unbearable anger, but...
Calm down, stay calm.
I tried to keep my cool and continued tailing them. Eventually, Daniel's car disappeared into a small hotel in the bustling downtown area.
That bastard, messing around.
I was tempted to ram his car from behind with all my might, but I stopped myself at the last moment. After confirming that the two of them got out of the car in the parking lot, I followed them. Just after Daniel confidently received the room keys at the counter.
What a coincidence running into you here, dear.
I greeted Daniel with a cool smile. Daniel looked at me as if he had seen a monster for a moment.
What are you doing here? I should be asking you that. Oh my, what an unusual pairing. To think you're here with our assistant Emily. No, this is not what it looks like. It was just a coincidence, on the way back from golfing with a friend.
Daniel was so flustered that his words and their order got all mixed up.
Oh, Daniel, you're sweating so much. What's the matter? It's not that hot today. Well, anyway, standing here talking isn't getting us anywhere.
Saying that, I led them to a cafe inside the hotel.
I'll have a coffee. You're fine with water, right?
Yes. Love water. Daniel managed a strained smile, and the staff, looking puzzled, retreated to the back.
So, how long have you two been involved?
I didn't want to waste time, so I quickly got to the point.
Like I said, you're misunderstanding. It'll be almost 3 months soon. Daniel is totally smitten with me.
Emily interrupted Daniel's excuses with a triumphant smile, and leaned on Daniel's shoulder as if to flaunt their relationship to me.
Hey, cut it out with the jokes, Emily. It's okay now. Olivia knows about us. Hiding it now is pointless. Right, Olivia?
Yes. Why don't you tell me everything honestly? Daniel was shaken, but finally resolved to speak.
Actually, that's true. We have developed a deep relationship that goes beyond just director and assistant.
Although I already knew, hearing it directly from them was indeed a huge shock.
So it was true.
I could only nod weakly.
So you prefer younger, cute girls? Why state the obvious? Of course, cuter is better. Besides, you're too old to have children now, aren't you?
Saying that, Emily leaned on Daniel and gently stroked her belly.
No way, you're...
At that moment, I was stunned.
That's how it is. I always meant to tell you someday. Emily is carrying my child.
Daniel admitted it with an unexpectedly refreshed and clear expression.
I thought it was bad at one point, but now that it's out, I think it was for the best. Keeping such a secret forever isn't right.
Daniel said this with a considerably relaxed expression, probably feeling mentally relieved that the secret he had been hiding was now out. Despite my hurt feelings, Daniel seemed not to consider my feelings at all. He continued, "To tell you the truth, I've always wanted a child." But with you, we just couldn't have one. Then Emily appeared before me. I thought it was fate. I wanted to cry out loud, but refused to let myself cry in front of them. If I showed tears, it would mean I had succumbed to them.
Don't glare at me with that scary face.
Emily, aware or unaware of my feelings, continued to mock me with laughter.
Just so you know, it was you who couldn't contribute to Daniel over the years.
Couldn't contribute? What are you even talking about?
Isn't it obvious? Daniel wanted children. And you, failing to give him one, what does that make you? A useless wife. So, I'm stepping in to give him a child instead of a failure like you. With an heir, the future of our dental clinic is secured.
I grabbed the check, stood up vigorously.
I'll take care of that.
Ignoring Daniel's attempt to intervene.
I'll pay. Consider it a parting gift. Goodbye.
As I was leaving, Emily said with pride.
I'll be taking the title of the director's wife, then.
I left the hotel without looking back. Afterward, accepting the reality that our marriage was beyond repair, I filed for divorce from Daniel, demanding a substantial settlement. Consequently, Madison and other staff who had long served the director said, "Without the vice director, it's not fun to be here anymore." And one by one, they left. With the high settlement from the divorce case and the loss of competent staff, the dental clinic faced a dire situation. Even if they were forced into such a situation, Daniel and Emily.
Dentistry is all about popularity. Staff will come easily enough without us doing anything.
Right. With your skills and my charm, we'll make 10 times what your ex-wife did. They thought about it carefreely. Sometime after the divorce, when I came home from work, I found a letter in my mailbox that made me doubt my eyes. It was an invitation to Daniel and Emily's wedding.
What's the meaning of sending this? Who would attend such a thing?
Like a cursed letter, I tore up the invitation on the spot. Indeed, I couldn't imagine anyone wanting to attend such a wedding. As expected, Madison called me.
I received it too. Such a filthy invitation seemed like a bad omen, so I immediately tore it up and threw it away.
Daniel had apparently sent invitations indiscriminately to everyone associated with the clinic, including patients. But everyone, already familiar with their story, chose not to attend. The wedding ended up being a lonely affair in an unnecessarily large venue with no guests.
I've never seen a wedding so devoid of blessings.
I couldn't help but laugh, imagining the waitstaff's conversation. A month later, I visited the apartment where Daniel and Emily had set up their new home. I hadn't seen Daniel since the divorce, and he looked a bit rounder in the face.
Aren't you getting a bit of exercise? It looks like you're not working much. Moving around would be good for you.
Since I had completely cut off my lingering feelings for Daniel, I advised him in a very calm manner. Emily brought over some coffee. "Oh, Olivia, there's no need for you to worry. My husband will soon be earning plenty, so we'll be able to pay off that settlement from the divorce in no time." She continued to be as obnoxious as ever. Then, sitting next to Daniel and without regard for my presence, they leaned on each other with a defiant smile.
I love you, Emily. Hey, there's an old woman watching. Let's save it for later.
As Daniel touched Emily's belly.
It just moved. It's going to be a healthy boy for sure.
That would be great, if he could take over my clinic.
Don't worry, this child will surely grow up to be as handsome as you. How long do you plan on being so affectionate?
I cleared my throat to bring them back to reality. Daniel sulked like a middle schooler woken up from a pleasant sleep.
Anyway, I plan to reopen the dental clinic soon, and once that happens, money will start coming in. So don't worry about the divorce settlement.
Thanks for that. But the reason I came here today isn't about something as trivial as that.
Trivial? After you demanded a huge amount for the divorce settlement, you call it trivial? After all those years as a dentist's wife, has your sense of money become numb?
This old woman is scary. Emily exaggerated a shiver and clung to Daniel. Ignoring the foolish couple, I slammed a document in front of Daniel.
Do you recognize this document?
Daniel's expression gradually paled as he looked at the document with a smirk. What's wrong, honey? Emily, noticing something was seriously wrong with Daniel, also turned her attention to the documents.
What is this? What does it mean?
Her eyes widened, almost to the point of frenzy.
I'm here not to press for the divorce settlement, but to demand the immediate repayment of a debt.
Debt? What are you talking about? I don't know anything about this, right, Daniel? What debt? Daniel's jaw trembled, too shaken to fix his gaze.
You haven't forgotten, have you? Daniel. No, should I say director?
Daniel nodded slightly. In fact, when Daniel was starting his dental practice, he had borrowed about $500,000 from my dad as startup capital.
Why are you bringing this up now?
Daniel panicked, but I remained calm.
Because you and I are now strangers, not husband and wife anymore. There's no reason for me to defer your debt any longer. Since your betrayal came to light, my dad has ordered the full repayment of the remaining debt.
Wait a minute. That's just too unreasonable. $500,000 is a huge amount. There's no way I can come up with that kind of money right now. Daniel pushed the document back to me with trembling hands. I slammed the document down in front of him again.
My dad lent you $500,000 because you were dedicated as a dentist. He believed you would make me happy. Even when we were financially struggling, he didn't want you to feel indebted, so he overlooked the repayment. You betrayed him for a foolish reason.
Why demand such a large amount now? Isn't that unreasonable?
Who's being unreasonable? You should have repaid this loan much earlier. It seems like you had even forgotten about the debt until now.
Daniel scratched his thinning hair. Looking at the gold watch on his arm, I said,
That watch, the sports car, the clothes in the closet, the shoes by the entrance, and even that painting, all were supported by me. Even though you were financially struggling, I never interfered with how you spent money because I didn't want you to feel embarrassed as a dentist. Do you understand why I went to such lengths? Because I loved you.
Given Daniel's humiliating act of betrayal, there was no longer any room for sympathy. Even if Daniel faced financial difficulties in the future, it wasn't my responsibility to lend a hand. That role would now be
Emily's, since you're Daniel's wife. It's up to you to support this extravagant spender.
I can't believe this. Emily looked at Daniel, who was sulking next to her, with disgust, as if looking at something filthy. Was I deceived? I was happy thinking I could live a life of luxury every day because he was rich, but it was all an illusion? My advice to Emily, whose distrust in her husband was growing, was the final blow.
When I was with him, we used to get debt collection notices every month. You seemed to pretend not to notice, but I paid for all of them. You'll probably find them thrown away in the trash can here. Because he had no intention of paying them back.
Emily stood up, tipped over the trash can in the corner of the living room. And letters and crumpled documents scattered on the floor. Emily picked up each one of them. This one too, all of them are collection notices. What is this? This is the worst. Emily, faced with the reality, couldn't hold back her tears anymore.
Calm down, Emily. It's okay. The dental clinic will reopen soon, and if we work together, we can quickly handle the debt.
Who would believe what you say? I married you thinking you were rich, not to marry an old man like you.
What? But you said I was handsome. Are you saying you married me just for my money?
Of course. Who else would marry an old man like you? Before me, the two of them escalated into a physical altercation.
I've conveyed my demands, so I'll be leaving now.
I made a formal goodbye and stood up. Wait, Olivia. It seems I need you after all. Please, can't we start over?
I don't understand what you're saying.
Wait, at least hear me out. Can you wait a bit longer for the debt? I'll pay the divorce settlement, I promise.
I have no intention of wasting any more time arguing with you. I have to go to work now. Goodbye.
Work? Is there even a place that would take in an old woman like you?
Please don't be rude. After our divorce, I received an offer to work at another dental clinic. The current director there recognizes my abilities as a dentist, and there are no obnoxious staff like Emily. The treatment and environment are worlds apart from when I was with you.
With that final dose of sarcasm, I left Daniel's apartment. Later on, Daniel and Emily did reopen the dental clinic. Their bad reputation, spread flamboyantly by Madison and others, led to a situation where not a single patient would come near, leaving their clinic eerily quiet. Furthermore,
If you're going to the dentist, Olivia's place is the best.
Madison recommended my new workplace. Thanks to her, my reputation was excellent, allowing me to showcase my skills as a dentist more than ever before.
Why do you keep accumulating debt? It's so stupid to splurge on luxury cars like that. You're still splurging on high-end brands yourself. With this kind of spending, there's no way we can ever pay off our debt.
Daniel and Emily seemed to have become accustomed to a lavish lifestyle as before. The amount of debt was increasing much faster than they could repay. While I had been making the payments, they had managed to live without apparent issues, but now, even selling the car or watch, or even the dental clinic, seemed insufficient to cover their debts. One day, while I was shopping at the supermarket, I heard a young woman's shouting that attracted a crowd.
Why is this so expensive? I'm pregnant. You could at least make it a bit cheaper.
Emily, now visibly pregnant, was complaining to a staff member. I'm sorry, but we can't offer any further discounts.
Oh, Emily.
Noticing that I was watching, Emily opened her eyes and made an awkward face. Thinking she had been caught in a compromising situation, she quickly looked away, but having lost the timing to leave, she instead approached me, grabbed me by the collar, started saying such unreasonable things.
This is all your fault. Why do I have to suffer like this? Take responsibility.
During the incident, it seems a store employee called the police, and afterward, Emily was taken away for disrupting business. Emily was ranting until the end, but in summary, despite her nearing childbirth, Daniel was not working or making any effort to find a new job, continuing his days in apathy. His wasteful habits remained unchanged, and their debts only grew, pushing them into an inescapable situation.
It wasn't supposed to be like this.
Afterward, Emily gave birth to a healthy boy, but their living situation remained dire.
Why did I ever marry such an old man? This is the worst.
Daniel, too, has been seen at times sitting dumbfounded on a park bench in broad daylight, feeding pigeons. In the neighborhood, there were voices saying,
There's another suspicious person around. We must warn the children not to go near.
Hearing this, I felt embarrassed for my ex-husband. Despite everything, with a child involved, they couldn't simply separate, and I knew nothing of their subsequent fate. Rumors suggested they were running from debt collectors, but I never heard any positive news. I relished the freedom of no longer being swayed by Daniel's financial irresponsibility.
From now on, I need to hone my skills as a dentist for my own sake.
With that resolve, I made a vow for my future.